Good morning to you. Welcome to Sunday Best on KTN and BTV. It's good to have you. It's another beautiful Sunday morning. Indeed, it is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Hot potato conversations right here on Sunday Best. We get to engage on topical issues that affect us Christians, but also, the general public, you as a human being, things that affect you. We get to engage. But more importantly, we get to find solutions and things that will be able to help us even as we continue in this journey called life. Karibu sana. My name is Anthony Ndiema. Today we talk about purpose, and especially for you as a young person. And I have an amazing panel of guys who are going to engage on this specific one. As we talk about purpose, of course, right here I have my friend BennyHinn Walubengo. Kaka, karibu sana.
Thank you.
You're well?
Yes, I'm well.
The first time I met you, I asked you, why are you called BennyHinn? Probably you will give us a story concerning that particular name. But you're a young leader. Yes. You're an author. You're very passionate about leadership.
Yes, sir.
And one day you want to become the president of this nation.
Yes, sir.
It is possible.
Yes, it is.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. We also have our brother Kigwa Stephen. Kigwa Stephen is a business consultant. He's also an author, an educator. He's many things. He's a lifestyle coach. He's a motivational speaker. He's also a film and music producer. Karibu sana, Stephen.
Thank you so much.
And it's good to have you.
Although you didn't ask me why I was called Kegwa Stephen, that's why he was called.
Yours is common. At least you know Stephen. It's a common one.
All right.
BennyHinn is and there's actually a story behind that. So karibu sana.
Thank you.
I think let's start right here. BennyHinn.
Yes.
Tell us the story behind BennyHinn before we delve into purpose today.
Well, I was born on 19th December 2001, and BennyHinn had come to Kenya.
All right.
And my mom told me I was born exactly when he was preaching in Uhuru Park and it was raining.
Wow.
And BennyHinn stood up and said, "Let the rain stop." That is the time I was coming out and my mom was listening to radio.
Eish.
The doctor said, this guy will be a preacher.
Wow.
The season he has been born in and the circumstances around the season. So my mom called me BennyHinn. Then Walubengo is the name of our grandfather.
Right.
A leader in the community.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very prophetic and very, very profound. I'm sure when your mom sees you right now, this young, she thinks, wow, well done. The prophecy did not go in vain because there's something molding already,
Yes.
Leadership in you.
To be a preacher in parliament.
To be a preacher in parliament. So tell us a bit more about yourself. Are you a student? What exactly are you involved in?
Well, currently I'm a student at Daystar. I'm a student of international relations and diplomacy.
Right.
But apart from that, I also have another life that is outside school. I have a foundation that I run. I'm the president and founder called The Voice of Benny. I started it in 2018 when I was in Form 3, mentoring young people, going to children homes and speaking to them and just gathering people to build them capacity in terms of public speaking. I've been building my skills in public speaking out of winning 7 awards at the Great Debaters nationally. Wow. And so I thought, at this young age, what can I do for my generation? I can teach them to be confident, I can teach them to articulate words. And as early as Form 4, I was getting opportunities to speak in organizations such as Centum. And I saw, okay, this is a gift. So I called it the boardroom gift.
Wow.
And I realized many young people have business ideas, but they don't know how to speak, how to package it, and even how to route and get mentors. And so yes, I've been building young guys through that. And also I've been under mentorship at the PLO Lumumba Foundation, where I later graduated from becoming a mentee to becoming a brand ambassador. And now writing this book and also working on another one. So this is what I'm doing, just building capacity to become a president one day.
So how old are you again, BennyHinn?
I'm 19.
Wow.
Yes.
And you're able to do all these things
Yes.
at 19.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a matter to do with capacity.
Yeah.
Pastor T has always told me that champions are made in the gym, but awarded in the ring. And
Champions are made in the gym,
but awarded in the ring.
awarded in the ring. Wow.
Therefore, I do believe that the gym, it's a place where people are made. And the ring, it's where people are seen. And therefore, it's a matter of sending yourself to the gym. You see, when the 844 system was being crafted in 1984, they had a reason as to why they crafted it. Basically, they wanted to empower young people and every person in Kenya education. But in God's desire, the Bible does not have 844. Therefore, you have to be outside the 844 to be great. You can pass through the system of 844, but you need to do something that is not in the 844 system if you want to be great. Because you look back at the world, people like Nelson Mandela, who changed the world, people like Mahatma Gandhi, who changed the world, Wangari Maathai here in Kenya, pastors like T.D. Jakes. These are people who went outside the education system. They had to do something that not everyone is doing. Therefore, if you want to be an extraordinary young person, you have to do something that is outside.
All right, you're already deep into the conversation. So we'll come into that because we really want to understand this purpose.
Yes.
And it's good that you're here, you're young, you're practicing it. So we'll get a few practical elements of the same, yeah? Let's come to you, Mr. Kigwa.
Yes.
Give us a bit more about yourself. Tell us more about yourself. But also as you share that, it will be great to understand the very basis of this. What is purpose?
Okay, now a little bit about me. I am a husband.
All right.
I'm a father.
Lovely.
I have 3 daughters and 1 son. All of them are in high school, except one is in grade 4.
Wow.
So
You have quite a son, quite a...
yes, my son is actually turning 18 next year.
So this gentleman here could be your son.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, about purpose. Now, when I was growing up, I had a hunger deep down. I wanted to know, did I just come to be among the many people who appear on the planet and disappear? I started feeling like, no, I must have come here to contribute, to make a difference.
Right.
But I did not know exactly what it is I came to do.
Wow.
So I started admiring people whom I thought were actually working on their purpose, doing what they were meant to do. And I was interested in some things. One of them was speaking. But at that time, I didn't want to get into speaking to go and preach the word. I was thinking of getting into the speaking industry to help people discover their purpose and exploit their potential. But I didn't know my purpose yet.
Wow.
And so I remember when I was just about to graduate from the university, is when I had that deep hunger. I want to know why I was born. And I started praying, asking God, reveal to me, show me why you created me. And I discovered that to discover your purpose is not a formula you follow. There is no formula to follow. Why? Because every person has their different purpose. So we can't put them in a straitjacket formula and we say this is the way to discover purpose. Each and every person, God reveals to them in their own unique, peculiar way, different times, what they were born to do. So God revealed to me what I was born to do, to speak, to empower people. I actually say I empower people with inspired education. That's what I do. So, but it starts with deep down. Someone must be hungering for more, not just being there, making a living, just being there to pay bills, working from 8 to 5, and that's all. There has to be something. There's nobody who was born on earth whose work was not born with them. And that work that God intended for someone to do is actually their assignment, the purpose, what they came to contribute, the problems they came to solve, the solutions they came to deliver. That is actually what purpose is all about.
I like it. You say it is the solutions you're bringing to the world. That's very profound. And by saying that everyone has their own journey, there is no specific formula to that. So probably let's delve a bit into understanding. So I am here. From the onset, I have no idea of why I am alive. I just know that it's a cycle. I get born, I go to school, after school I get a job, after getting a job I work, I get a family, I live, I see my children, then I die. Is that enough?
No, it's not enough. There's something I call the 5 major life questions.
Right.
And purpose is one of them. These questions are, who am I? It's a question about identity. Where did I come from? That's about origin. Why am I here? That's purpose. What can I do? That's potential. Where am I going? That's destiny. So purpose is a very crucial question that every person must answer. Unfortunately, many people journey through life and they exit, like you say, without ever coming into contact with exactly who they were meant to be, without knowing what they came to deliver on earth. And unfortunately, we also have parents who are raising children and they cannot help the children get to know why were they born, why are they here.
Because the parents themselves even have no idea.
Yes, because you can't take someone where you have never been.
That's true.
You can't teach what you don't know. And in fact, I have a big problem and a big challenge with parents who keep asking children, what do you want to become? You are not supposed to be directing to what they want to become. You're supposed to be directing to what God wants them to be. But you see, you can't help them on that if, number one, you're not in touch with God yourself. So the problem starts right at home. We have parents raising children, and the raising that we are talking about is simply providing the basic necessities of life. You know, paying for school fees, you know, buying clothes, food, and all that. I think that's actually what raising children is about. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. Purpose is crucial and critical. It's actually, I think, the most important, the greatest, the grandest thing that any person can get in life is to discover their own purpose in life. But you see, you don't choose purpose.
Right.
Purpose is built in you. Your job is to seek out what that purpose is and then begin to set your dreams, your goals in line with that purpose.
All right. So purpose has been used in many places. For someone who is out here and is saying, what is this purpose? One very simple layman description of purpose, what will that be to you, even as we continue exploring it?
Purpose is the reason for your living. Just that.
Just that. The reason
For your living.
for your living.
Yes.
Actually, someone said, what wakes you up in the morning? Is it alarm or purpose?
What wakes you up in the morning? Is it alarm or purpose? BennyHinn, you're young. Do you think you have discovered your purpose? Or are you on a journey?
Yes, I do think I've discovered my purpose. And purpose, people discover purpose differently, totally differently. And maybe we shall use examples in the Bible and even visible examples in the world. You see, someone like Jesus, his purpose was already ordained, but his purpose manifested when he was baptized. That's when now it was manifested to the world.
Right.
Someone like Joseph, he was a dreamer, but you see, the dream wasn't relevant with him being at home with his brothers. The dream was only relevant when he went to Potiphar's house in the palace. And therefore, even you can be in purpose, but you're in a place where it's not relevant. It's actually being fought. So purpose also has its own atmosphere of it being discovered. There are places where it can't be discovered. For example, for me, I've learned in 7 high schools.
Wow.
I've learned, by the time I was meeting Pastor T, I had learned in 7 high schools. I was very talkative, naturally. I found myself, I could speak in class when I was growing up, and people would listen, you know. And so most of the time I would be written in noisemakers, even when I'm not in school. So I asked these guys, mbona mmeniandika? Maze mbona mmeniandika? And they tell me hata penye ulikuwa unapiga kelele. So I could find myself in problems most of the time. And sometimes teachers would say, wacha tuweke ujamaa kwa class prefect. That's why anapiga kelele, you know. And when they will put me as a class prefect, I will now lead group discussions. And even in KCPE, the last person in our class had 363 marks.
Wow.
Because we used to lead group discussions now. So I will take like the class, mazebala, mi kupiga kelele, preps time, wacha tupige group discussion. And you know, even you as a noisemaker, the influence of noisemakers, they'll have to listen. Because the influencer who has stories is the one leading group discussions.
Right.
And so in between, the ambia was a story, watacheka, and so they concentrate, and guys will be free to come to me. And so I realized within that being noisemaker, there's a leader in that noisemaker. So when I went to high school, I started reading a lot of books by Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela. I was interested in revolutionary politics. And therefore, most of the time I would speak my mind in school. And these schools had issues. Some of them had issues to do with homosexuality. Some of them, we had, the food was not good. and people will write letters, and there was something called the student baraza, and I was in Form 1. And so this student baraza, every class used to pick one student. Form 1, the whole stream picks one student. Form 2, then you go and address their matters, each 4 minutes. And so when I got there, guys from Form 4, Form 3, Form 2 say, sisi madakika zetu hatujachagua mzee, wacha zote tupe jamaa zikuwe 16 minutes, you know. So when I'm there, I speak issues about the whole school, and guys are cheering, you know. And even sometimes teachers would write for me side notes and say, peleka hii lakini usiseme ni mimi, you know. So I realized, oh, even people are fearing. So I could express myself. And so I ended up being expelled and suspended in different schools because of incitement.
Wow. That's very interesting.
So I met Pastor T in Form 2. Third term, I've just learned in the 7th school, and meet this guy, and he's preaching at GM. So this guy is preaching about the 7 mountains of influence. Then he says about governance, and he preached like for 20 minutes about governance. They feel like, hey, this guy is talking to me. But I'm like, pana, mi siwezi enda mbele kuokoka. So this guy says, there's someone who needs to get saved today. And that person is specifically in the mountain of governance.
Wow.
I feel like I have a conviction. Who is this person? So I am waiting for that person to go. So there's a boy who goes. And I'm like, hata mi napiga makofi. You know.
At least see where.
Yes. And then Pastor T says, no, that person hajakuja bado. Wow. For 5 minutes, the worship is not moving. They are saying this person akuje. Uja mana tuestia time. Kuja kama ni wewe. You know. So I felt the conviction. I stood up. I went. And when this guy prayed for me, he said, yes, you're that young man. I want to walk with you. I want to mentor you. So the next weekend, he tells me to wake up at 5 a.m. He's going to give a talk at St. Paul's University. I join him. So I joined him at 5:30. We reached there. He says, well, I've come with our guest speaker. He's a very international guy. And this is the guy who's going to speak to us today. BennyHinn, the floor is yours, 1 hour. So I speak what is in my mind. Then after speaking, he tells me, you spoke very well, but you haven't read the Bible. You now need to know God.
You have too much head knowledge.
Yes. And so I was a very good orator, but I was not in purpose. I was very good at what I was doing because having all these 7 schools, I was going at the great debaters. That's how 7 medals came, by the way. In every region I was joining, go to the great debaters, I get a medal.
Right.
So I have medals from 7 regions, apart from Northeastern and Coast. I have Nairobi, all that. So I was now getting skills,
Right.
but I wasn't in purpose.
So your purpose was actually realized by now getting into the Word, getting closer to God.
Yes.
That was the beginning. Pastor Kigwa. Let me call you that at this point.
Yes.
When we talk about purpose, and I think his story is really, really, tremendous. Does God have to speak to me for me to discover purpose? How does that come?
Well, that's a very heavy question. Does God, he needs to speak to you, yes, but many people have never heard the audible voice of God. That, hey, Anthony, I am God. No, you might never hear. Yes, but God always speaks. He will speak through people, through circumstances, situations. He will orchestrate things in your way. And just like, he mentioned about Joseph. Can you imagine Joseph being thrown into a pit? And then there are some merchants passing by. He orchestrates events around your life. Then you're pulled out from the pit, you're sold. They take you to where you are meant to actually be discovered, So, yes, God does speak, but he may not hear his own voice. There is a scripture in the Bible that I like to refer to. Many times we actually quote it in the wrong way. It's in the book of Psalms 37. The Bible says that God gives you the desires of your heart.
Right.
Many people think is that what I desire is what God gives me. But if you look at that verse properly, it means God puts the desires in you. He puts those desires. In Philippians 2, the Bible talks about it is him who causes us. I'm answering Bible because you call me pastor.
Yes.
It is him who causes us both to will and to work for his good pleasure. So he gives us the willingness. All of a sudden you'll begin to say, oh, I'm desiring to do this. I'm interested in this. And you want to do those things. So God puts those desires in you.
Right.
So that's how he speaks to you.
Wow. So circumstances, he uses people. And So what is my role as a person in such a setup?
To be alert. Number one is to be, you must be someone who is hungry for God. You must know that you don't live for yourself. You actually live for God. God put you here. So he has a reason why he put you here. So you must be thinking about, I am answerable to him. There is something I need to do so that I can receive, well done, faithful servant. It's not about pleasing people, it's about pleasing God. So that's key. So you must be hungry for God, wanting to see God's counsel, God's knowledge through the Bible, getting to have a very strong and deep relationship with God. That's where it all begins.
Right.
Yes.
Oh.
Alertness. I'm sure you're connecting, eh?
Yes, yes. Actually, someone asked me a question that was very deep. I went to give a talk at the United Nations to young people, and someone asked me, must you be born again to be in purpose? Because there are guys who are not born again and they're in purpose. We have politicians who are very secular and they're in purpose. We have guys who are speakers in the world and they're in purpose. He even told me we have revolutionaries like Indians. Mahatma Gandhi was in purpose, and he never believed in God, our God, the Christian God. And so he asked me, must I be a Christian to be in purpose? Because you guys...
Hold it right there. That's a very interesting line of thought and conversation. We said purpose is what again?
The reason for living.
The reason for living. So Mahatma Gandhi's reason for living was what?
To lead a revolution.
To lead a revolution.
Yes.
That was his reason.
Yes.
And so he was in purpose.
Yes.
Continue.
So this guy asked me, so yeah, you guys are saying we must be close to God and all this. Does it make sense? And I even sat down. You know, those are some of the toughest questions. And then I sat down and asked God, now, how do I answer this question?
Yes.
And I got an answer. I realized, you see, a car, for it to move, all it needs is fuel. A car can be in a very poor condition, but as long as it has fuel, it will still move. Maybe it will break down ahead because of the condition. So when God was setting up human beings, for him he gave purpose. Now, the problem is, for those who don't know God, their purpose won't be sustained by God. It's themselves. That's why there are people who lead purpose. They're in purpose, but they don't know God. But they get into depression. And they break down very easily. And they don't reach some certain standard of purpose. They only reach in the human standard. That's why guys struggle with branding, personal branding, image. They consult. They struggle a lot because they need now the human experience and human wisdom to push their agenda. So therefore, if all these things are not there, they fail. That's why during COVID, a lot of brands failed, a lot of companies went down, a lot of people disappeared because their purpose was not being sustained by God. God was not the source.
Wow. You know, that's very interesting because, so there's a human aspect that we push as human beings, and it's an agenda. We say, so I am a revolutionarist, so my agenda is to make sure that this state or this nation turns. But my fuel is me, my power, you know, my understanding, my experience. But there's also another level where, yes, you have an agenda and it's what you were born, it's inherent, but you allow God to fuel.
Yes. Celebrities in Kenya, what do? Causing scandals every week so that they can trend. Very
Naitwa
simple.
Kiki, naitwa
Yes. Piga kiki. So they do that. They create to sustain relevance.
Right.
I'll give you a very easy example. In the days of Akina Bonke, Billy Graham, they were not using branding or social media.
It was not even there.
These guys were just showing up and things happen. They were not pushing.
Their connection was to something else.
Yes.
And of course, it was to God, who gave it to them. We want to take a short break. And Stephen, I want to understand your experience in terms of going out and meeting people and speaking to young people and encouraging them. You have a son who's old as well. What happens after I have made a discovery? Finally, I know that the reason for me for living is to cause a revolution. We'll use that example. So what do I do after that? All right. So we come back in a short while and we'll want to understand, what do you do after you have discovered your purpose? We are the 4 Points by Sheraton at Hurlingham. Amazing, amazing facility. The cuisine is on another level. You need to check out their conference facilities. You'll definitely love it. All right. It's in Hurlingham. Check it out. But we come back in a short while. Don't go too far. This is Sunday Best.